Fear of failure is the silent enemy that holds more people back than anything else. It's the invisible force that keeps dreams locked away, ideas unspoken, and potential unrealized. We've been conditioned to avoid failure at all costs, to see it as a sign of weakness, a mark of incompetence. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has failed, and not just once, but repeatedly. The only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they respond to failure. Most people never start because they're terrified of what might go wrong. They play out worst-case scenarios in their heads, imagining embarrassment, judgment, and disappointment. But what they don't realize is that avoiding failure is just another form of failure. By doing nothing, they've already lost. The people who achieve great things in life aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail the most but keep going anyway. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall again and again, but no one tells them to stop trying. No one says maybe walking just isn't for you. They get up and keep going because failure isn't final, it's feedback. Somewhere along the way, we lose that resilience. We start believing that mistakes define us, that failure is proof we aren't good enough. But that's a lie. Every failure holds a lesson, and those who learn from their failures are the ones who grow. The fear of failure is so powerful that it causes people to settle. They choose safe, predictable lives because taking risks feels too dangerous. They avoid trying new things because they don't want to look foolish. But what they fail to see is that avoiding failure doesn't just keep them safe, it keeps them small. The only way to grow is to step into the unknown, to risk failure, to embrace uncertainty. Because on the other side of failure is wisdom, experience, and progress. Most people think failure is a stop sign, when in reality it's a stepping stone. Every time you fail, you gain information, you learn what doesn't work, you get better. The greatest innovators, the greatest athletes, the greatest leaders, none of them succeeded on their first try. They faced rejection, criticism, and doubt, but instead of letting failure define them, they used it to refine them. They saw failure not as an obstacle, but as part of the journey. If you look at any major success story, you'll find a trail of failures behind it. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because he lacked imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. If they had let failure stop them, the world would be a very different place. What separates successful people from everyone else isn't that they never fail, it's that they never let failure stop them. They take risks, they try again, they learn, they understand that failure is never the end, it's simply a lesson, a redirection, a step forward. The most dangerous thing you can do isn't failing, it's never trying in the first place. Fear of failure is an illusion. It exists only in the mind. When you actually fail, when you actually make a mistake, you realize it's never as bad as you imagined. You survive, you adapt, you get better. The pain of failure is temporary, but the regret of never trying lasts forever. Ask yourself, what would you do if you weren't afraid to fail? What dream would you chase? What goal would you pursue? What risks would you take? Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is fear, and fear is a choice. You don't have to let it control you. You can decide right now to change your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing it as something to be avoided, see it as something to be embraced. Instead of fearing it, expect it, welcome it, learn from it. Because the moment you stop fearing failure, you become unstoppable. The world belongs to those who are willing to fail. The ones who try, the ones who stumble, the ones who fall but get back up, the ones who refuse to let fear win. The only real failure in life is refusing to try at all. Most people go through life without ever truly knowing what they want. They wake up, go to work, handle responsibilities, and repeat the cycle without a clear sense of purpose. It's not that they lack intelligence or potential, it's that they lack clarity. Without clarity, life is just a series of reactions to circumstances, rather than a deliberate pursuit of something meaningful. The problem is, when you don't know what you're working toward, you end up drifting. You become a passenger in your own life instead of the driver. Clarity is power. When you have a clear vision of where you want to go, everything changes. Your decisions become easier, your focus sharpens, you stop wasting time on distractions because you know what truly matters. But most people never take the time to define what they really want. They follow the paths laid out by society, their families, or their peers without questioning whether those paths align with their own desires. They chase success without asking themselves what success even means to them. Imagine getting into a car with no destination. You drive aimlessly, making random turns, stopping whenever you feel like it, unsure of where you're going. You burn fuel, you waste time, and in the end, you find yourself nowhere in particular. That's exactly how most people live their lives. They take jobs because they seem like the right thing to do. They pursue goals because everyone else is doing the same. They make choices based on external expectations rather than internal conviction. But here's the truth. If you don't define your destination, life will define it for you. You'll be pulled in different directions by other people's agendas. You'll be influenced by trends, by societal pressures, by fleeting desires, and one day you'll wake up and wonder how you ended up where you are, unfulfilled, uninspired, and uncertain of what's next. Clarity begins with asking yourself tough questions. What do you truly want? Not what your parents want, not what your friends expect, not what looks good on paper, but what actually excites you, what gives your life meaning. Most people never ask this question because they're afraid of the answer. They're afraid that their true desires might not align with the life they've built. They're afraid that pursuing what they really want might require change, discomfort, or risk. But avoiding the question doesn't make the need for clarity disappear. It only prolongs the confusion. Some people say, I don't know what I want, but that's rarely true. Deep down, most people have a sense of what excites them, what interests them, what sparks their curiosity. The problem isn't that they don't know, it's that they haven't given themselves permission to believe it's possible. They dismiss their dreams as unrealistic. They talk themselves out of what they truly want because they're afraid of failing, afraid of judgment, afraid of stepping outside the familiar. But clarity doesn't mean having all the answers. It doesn't mean knowing exactly how everything will unfold. It simply means knowing the direction you want to go. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to take the first step. Clarity isn't about predicting the future. It's about making intentional choices in the present. It's about aligning your daily actions with a bigger purpose. When you have clarity, you don't waste time on things that don't serve you. You don't chase goals just because they look impressive to others. You don't say yes to opportunities that pull you away from what truly matters. Clarity gives you the power to say no to distractions, to obligations that don't align with your vision, to anything that doesn't contribute to the life you want to build. And here's the best part. Clarity creates confidence. When you know what you want, you stop second-guessing yourself, you stop hesitating, you move forward with conviction. People who lack clarity are always seeking external validation, always waiting for someone else to tell them what to do. But people with clarity trust themselves. They don't need permission. They don't need approval. They simply act. So if you're feeling lost, if you're unsure of what's next, don't wait for clarity to magically appear. Create it. Take time to reflect. Ask yourself hard questions. Write down your thoughts. Explore new experiences. Pay attention to what excites you, what energizes you, what makes you feel alive. Because once you find that, everything else becomes easier. The people who take control of their lives aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who choose a direction and start moving. They understand that clarity is not something you find, it's something you build. And once you have it, nothing can stop you. Comfort is a trap that keeps people stuck in the same place for years, sometimes even a lifetime. It's easy to stay where things feel safe, predictable, and familiar. After all, our brains are wired to seek comfort and avoid pain. But the truth is, nothing extraordinary ever happens inside the comfort zone. Growth, success, and personal transformation all require stepping into discomfort. Yet, most people resist this because discomfort feels like danger and their instinct is to retreat rather than push forward. The problem is that comfort gives the illusion of security. It makes people believe they're doing fine, that there's no need to change. But in reality, the comfort zone is not a safe place, it's a stagnant one. It's where dreams go to die, where ambitions fade, where people wake up one day realizing they've wasted years doing the same thing without ever truly growing. The longer you stay in your comfort zone, the harder it becomes to leave. It becomes a cycle. You avoid discomfort, so you don't grow, and because you don't grow, life stays the same. Growth only happens when you stretch yourself beyond what feels easy. Think about how muscles grow. When you lift weights, you create tiny tears in the muscle fibers. Your body repairs them, making them stronger. If you never challenge your muscles, they don't grow. The same applies to your mind, your skills, and your life. If you never push yourself beyond what's comfortable, you will never reach your full potential. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in their comfort zones is fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. They'd rather stick to what they know than risk stepping into something uncertain. But the irony is that avoiding discomfort doesn't protect them, it limits them. The people who achieve great things in life are not the ones who avoid fear, they are the ones who face it. They understand that discomfort is not something to run from, but something to embrace. Most people don't realize how much they are capable of because they've never truly tested their limits. They assume they can't do something simply because they've never tried, but the only way to discover your potential is to challenge yourself. Try something new, take risks, put yourself in situations that force you to grow. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it will be difficult. But that's the point. Every challenge you overcome expands what you believe is possible. Look at anyone who has achieved something significant: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. None of them got there by staying comfortable. They pushed themselves beyond what felt easy. They failed, learned, adapted, and kept going. They embraced discomfort as part of the journey. They understood that the pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. The comfort zone also creates complacency. When life is good enough, people stop striving for more. They settle into routines that don't challenge them, jobs that don't inspire them, relationships that don't fulfill them. They convince themselves that they should be grateful for what they have, that wanting more is selfish or unrealistic. But settling is not the same as being grateful. You can be grateful for where you are while still striving for more. The two are not mutually exclusive. Stepping out of your comfort zone doesn't mean making reckless decisions. It doesn't mean throwing everything away and diving into uncertainty without a plan. It simply means taking small, intentional steps toward discomfort. It means doing things that challenge you, that scare you a little, that force you to grow. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes normal and your comfort zone expands. And think about the first time you tried anything new, whether it was public speaking, learning a skill, or taking on a new responsibility. It probably felt uncomfortable at first. But the more you did it, the easier it became. What was once terrifying became second nature. That's how growth works. Every time you push beyond your current limits, you expand what you're capable of. So the question is, where are you too comfortable in your life? What areas have you been avoiding because they feel too difficult or uncertain? What dreams have you put on hold because you're waiting for the right time, a time that will never come? The reality is, the only way to take control of your life is to embrace discomfort. The people who succeed are not the ones who avoid fear, struggle, or uncertainty. They're the ones who face it head on. They understand that growth comes at a price, the price of discomfort, effort, and risk. But the reward is worth it. The only real failure in life is staying the same. If you want more, if you want to grow, if you want to take control of your life, step outside of what's comfortable. Because everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your mindset, beliefs, and ultimately your success in life. Yet, most people don't give enough thought to the influence of their environment. They assume that relationships, friendships, and social circles are just a natural part of life without realizing that every interaction either lifts them up or holds them back. If you are surrounded by people who doubt you, discourage you, or settle for mediocrity, it becomes almost impossible to rise above that influence. Human beings are social creatures. We naturally conform to the behaviors and expectations of those around us. This isn't just a theory, it's a psychological fact. If the people closest to you constantly complain about their circumstances, blame others for their problems, and avoid taking responsibility for their lives, you will eventually adopt the same mentality. Even if you have big dreams and ambitions, the negativity of those around you can drain your energy and make you question yourself. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with people who are driven, focused, and constantly striving to improve, it shifts your perspective. It makes you believe in bigger possibilities. It challenges you to grow. The right environment doesn't just inspire you, it forces you to level up. That's why successful people are intentional about the company they keep. They understand that growth is not just about what you do, it's also about who you allow into your life. But most people don't actively choose their environment. They stay in friendships out of habit. They engage in conversations that don't serve them. And they tolerate negativity because it's familiar. They hold on to relationships that no longer align with their vision, not realizing that every moment spent in the wrong environment is a moment stolen from their future. The people closest to you should challenge you, not just comfort you. Growth doesn't happen in spaces where everyone agrees with you, where no one pushes you to be better. If your environment feels too comfortable, it's a sign that you're not being challenged enough. You need people who call you out when you're making excuses. You need people who push you beyond your limits, who refuse to let you settle for less than you're capable of. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life recklessly. It simply means being mindful of who has the greatest influence over you. If someone constantly drains your energy, fills your mind with doubt, or keeps you stuck in the past, it might be time to create some distance. You don't have to hate them, but you do have to protect your mindset, because at the end of the day, your future depends on it. Many people struggle with this idea because they feel a sense of loyalty to the people they've known for years. They worry about hurting feelings or being judged for changing, but growth requires making difficult decisions. It requires prioritizing your future over temporary discomfort. If you are truly committed to becoming the best version of yourself, you can't afford to let the fear of other people's opinions hold you back. Look at the most successful people in any field: athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. They all have one thing in common: they intentionally surround themselves with people who push them to be better. They don't entertain small-minded thinking. They don't engage in pointless gossip. They don't spend time with people who drain their energy. Instead, they build environments that challenge them to grow. One of the easiest ways to upgrade your life is to upgrade your environment. Spend time around people who inspire you, who make you think bigger, who hold you accountable. Read books, listen to podcasts, follow mentors who expand your perspective. If you can't find the right environment, create it. Join groups, attend events, seek out people who align with your vision. Your environment should be a reflection of the person you want to become. And here's the truth: when you start to elevate yourself, not everyone will come with you. Some people will resist your growth. They'll try to pull you back into old habits, not because they want to hurt you, but because your growth highlights their stagnation. They'll tell you that you've changed, that you're acting different, and they'll be right. Because growth requires change. It requires shedding old versions of yourself, leaving behind mindsets that no longer serve you. The people who truly support you will grow with you. They will celebrate your progress, encourage your ambitions, and push you to go further. But the ones who try to hold you back, they were never meant to be part of your future. So ask yourself, who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Are they helping you grow, or are they keeping you stuck? Are they pushing you to be better, or are they keeping you comfortable? Because the hard truth is, your environment is either your greatest asset or your biggest obstacle. And if you want to take control of your life, you must take control of the people you allow into it. Surround yourself with people who make you think bigger, people who challenge you to be better, people who refuse to let you settle. Because in the end, the quality of your environment determines the quality of your life. Most people struggle to take control of their lives because they fear failure. They hesitate, they overthink, and they delay action because they are terrified of making mistakes. But what they don't realize is that failure is not the enemy and action is. The only real way to fail is to do nothing. Every successful person, every leader, every innovator has failed, and they have failed often. The difference is that they did not allow failure to define them. Instead, they used it as a stepping stone to success. Fear of failure is deeply rooted in the way we are conditioned. From a young age, we are taught that failure is something to be avoided. Schools penalize mistakes, society praises perfection, and people judge those who stumble. This creates a mindset where people believe that failing means they are not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. But this is a lie. The most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed the most. The reason they have succeeded is that they did not stop when they failed. They learned, they adapted, and they kept going. The truth is, failure is not a sign that you're incapable. It's a sign that you're trying. It's proof that you're pushing your limits, stepping outside your comfort zone, and doing something meaningful. If you never fail, it means you are not taking big enough risks. It means you are playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone, and avoiding challenges that could help you grow. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't get it right the first time. They fall, they stumble, they get back up, and they try again. And they keep trying until one day they are running. Imagine if a child gave up the first time they fell. They would never learn to walk. But as adults, we do this all the time. We try something, we fail, and we convince ourselves that we're not meant for it. We tell ourselves, I'm not good at this isn't for me, or maybe I'm just not talented enough. But the only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that successful people don't quit when they fail. They see failure as a lesson, not a verdict. Every failure carries a lesson. It shows you what doesn't work so you can adjust your approach. It teaches you resilience. It strengthens your ability to handle setbacks, but most people don't see failure this way. They see it as a final judgment, a confirmation that they should give up, and because of this, they miss out on their potential. Some of the most successful people in history have failed more times than they can count. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because he was told he lacked creativity. Steve Jobs was removed from his own company before coming back to make it the powerhouse it is today. The difference between these people and everyone else is that they did not let failure stop them. They understood that failure was part of the journey, not the end of it. But here's what most people don't realize. The fear of failure is often worse than failure itself. The fear keeps people stuck, preventing them from even trying. It creates endless overthinking, self-doubt, and hesitation. But the moment you take action, the fear begins to fade because action creates momentum. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. And the better you get, the less you fear failure. If you want to take control of your life, you must redefine failure. You must see it as feedback, as a necessary part of growth. You must stop avoiding it and start embracing it. Because the people who achieve great things are not the ones who never fail, they are the ones who fail the most and refuse to give you p. So ask yourself, what are you avoiding because you're afraid of failing? What dreams have you put on hold because you don't want to make mistakes? What opportunities have you let slip away because you were scared to take the risk? The truth is, failure is inevitable. The only choice you have is whether you let it stop you or let it shape you into something greater, because in the end, the real failure is not trying at all. The real failure is letting fear control you. If you want to take control of your life, you must be willing to fail. And not just once, but over and over again, because every failure brings you one step closer to success. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to take control of their lives is that they don't truly believe in themselves. They may have goals, dreams, and ambitions, but deep down they doubt whether they are capable of achieving them. This lack of belief is what holds them back more than any external challenge ever could. Because when you don't believe in yourself, you hesitate, you second-guess your decisions. You look for validation from others instead of trusting your own instincts, and ultimately you play small when you were meant for more. Belief is the foundation of everything. Every great achievement in history started with someone who believed it was possible. Every successful entrepreneur, every world-class athlete, every visionary leader, all of them had moments of doubt, but what separated them from everyone else was their ability to push forward despite that doubt. They built their confidence through action. They developed an unshakable belief that they were capable of figuring things out, no matter what obstacles came their way. Most people, however, never get to that point because they wait for proof before they believe. They wait for external validation, for someone to tell them they're good enough, for life to give them a sign. But that's not how belief works. You don't wait for proof, you create it. You take action despite the doubt, and in doing so, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Confidence is not something you are born with, it's something you build. Think about a time when you achieved something that once felt impossible. Maybe it was learning a new skill, speaking in public, or overcoming a personal challenge. In the beginning, it seemed difficult, maybe even out of reach. But over time, as you practiced and improved, your confidence grew. The same applies to every area of life. The more you take action, the more capable you feel. But if you never start, if you let self-doubt stop you, you never give yourself the chance to grow. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that belief comes first and action comes second. They think, once I feel confident, then I'll take action, but in reality, it's the other way around. You have to take action first, no matter how uncertain you feel, and confidence follows. Waiting until you feel ready is just another form of procrastination, because the truth is you will never feel 100% ready. Growth requires stepping into the unknown. It requires taking risks, making mistakes, and learning as you go. The problem is that most people have been conditioned to doubt themselves. From a young age, they are told what they can and can't do. They are shaped by the expectations of others, teachers, parents, society, and over time, these external voices become internal ones. They start believing the limits placed on them. They accept mediocrity not because they want to, but because they think that's all they are capable of. But here's the truth. The only limits that exist are the ones you accept. Your potential is not determined by your past, by what others think of you, or by where you started. It's determined by what you choose to believe about yourself. If you believe you are capable of growth, of overcoming challenges, of achieving great things, then you will act accordingly. But if you believe you are destined to stay stuck, that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough, then you will sabotage yourself before you even begin. Every successful person has had moments of doubt. The difference is that they didn't let those doubts control them. They pushed through. They reminded themselves that belief is a choice. And every time they chose to believe in themselves, they reinforced that belief through action. If you want to take control of your life, you must take control of your thoughts. You must reprogram the way you see yourself. Instead of focusing on your weaknesses, focus on your strengths. Instead of telling yourself why you can't do something, ask yourself how you can. Instead of waiting for permission to pursue your dreams, give yourself permission. Because in the end, the world will believe in you to the extent that you believe in yourself. If you don't trust your own abilities, why should anyone else? If you don't believe you are capable, why would the world open doors for you? Everything starts with self-belief, and the best part is you don't need anyone's approval to have it. You can choose right now to believe in yourself. You can decide that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you are strong enough to face whatever comes your way. And once you make that decision, everything changes. You stop hesitating. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You take action. And with every step forward, your confidence grows. You become the kind of person who takes control, who creates opportunities, who refuses to settle for anything less than their full potential. So ask yourself, do you truly believe in yourself? If not, what's stopping you? Because the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can achieve it. And the moment you choose to believe in yourself, you step into your true power. Many people go through life feeling stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled, not because they lack potential, but because they wait for the perfect conditions to take action. They tell themselves they'll start when the timing is right, when they have more money, when they feel more confident, when they have everything figured out. But here's the truth, there is no perfect moment. There never has been, and there never will be. Life doesn't hand you the perfect conditions to succeed. It rewards those who take action despite uncertainty. Waiting for the right time is one of the most common ways people sabotage their own success. It feels like a logical decision. You want to be prepared. You want to make sure everything is in place before you start. But in reality, it's just fear disguised as logic. It's an excuse to avoid stepping into the unknown. Because the unknown is uncomfortable. It comes with risk, failure, and uncertainty. But it's also the only place where growth happens. Look at anyone who has achieved great things. They didn't wait until everything was perfect to take the first step. They started before they were ready. They took action while they were still figuring things out. They understood that clarity comes from movement, not from standing still. Most people believe they need more information, more skills, more resources before they can begin. But the truth is, you don't need all the answers to get started. You just need to take the first step. Because taking action creates momentum. The more you do, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. And as you get better, the opportunities you were waiting for start to appear. Think about the last time you learned something new. Maybe it was driving a car, learning an instrument, or starting a new job. You didn't wait until you were an expert before you started. You learned by doing, you figured it out along the way, and eventually what once seemed difficult became second nature. The same principle applies to everything in life, but most people get stuck in what's called analysis paralysis. They overthink every decision, trying to predict every possible outcome, worrying about every little detail. And in the process, they do nothing. They spend months, even years planning, researching, waiting, while others who simply started are miles ahead of them. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who wait. They are the ones who take action despite the fear, despite the uncertainty, despite not having all the answers. They understand that progress is better than perfection. They are willing to make mistakes, learn from them, and keep going. The harsh reality is, if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you will be waiting forever. Life is unpredictable. Circumstances will never be exactly right. There will always be obstacles, challenges, and reasons to delay. But success belongs to those who move forward anyway. Think about the people who inspire you. The entrepreneurs who built billion-dollar companies, the artists who changed the world, the athletes who broke records. None of them waited for the perfect moment. They started with what they had, where they were, and figured out the rest along the way. If you keep waiting, ask yourself this: how many opportunities have you already missed because you were waiting for the right time? How much further could you be if you had taken action earlier? How many dreams have you put on hold because you were too afraid to start? The greatest regret people have at the end of their lives is not the mistakes they made, it's the chances they didn't take, the ideas they never pursued, the dreams they never chased. Because when it's all said and done, you won't regret failing. You'll regret not trying. The only way to take control of your life is to stop waiting and start doing. Take the first step, even if you're scared, even if you don't feel ready, even if you don't know exactly how things will unfold. Because action leads to clarity, movement leads to progress, and momentum creates success. You don't need permission to go after what you want. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need the courage to begin. And once you do, you'll realize that the perfect moment was never something to wait for. It was something you created by taking action.